Hello, and welcome to We Will Manage, the podcast exploring the weird and wonderful world of work. We are two young professionals figuring out our careers one conversation at a time. And today we're talking about work-life balance.
So stick around to redefine what that even means, how to stop feeling guilty, and why taking a break is the best thing you can actually do for your boss.
And now you can take your glasses off.
Can't actually.
So I'm also hoping that, so there's people cooking dinner right in the room next door.
Okay.
So I'm hoping it's not going to be too loud.
I can't hear
Very
anything.
much like pointed this towards me.
I should do the
So
same.
it's not facing anywhere else.
Press the button. The button went red, but it's blue
no.
again now.
Good. So how are you?
Beverage today? I'm
I
all
have-
right. Sorry.
You go, well, I do. We were out today and we took a juice with us that we forgot about. So
Nice.
I am drinking that now.
Perfect. I made a cup of tea, green tea, that I made very hot so that it would remain at least warm while I recorded.
Yeah. And I feel like herbal teas is okay if they go cold. I don't mind a cold
That's true.
herbal tea, but a
Yeah.
cold normal tea, just no.
It's a vanilla green tea for those who are interested. I highly recommend.
Look at you.
I quite like it.
Anyway. Yeah. How
Yeah,
was your day?
I'm all right.
How are you?
The environment at work isn't the best right now. There are things going on. I was a bit anxious about it yesterday, so today I talked about it with the people that were involved, and now I feel better. So,
Good for you.
yeah.
Good. Is it on the road to getting fixed, or is it kind of just going to take some time?
I think
kind of
so.
Situation? Yeah.
I think it'll get fixed.
Good.
I think it's just figuring out who needs to do what for it to happen, you know? For the system to work. But anyway, yeah. I was at IKEA on Monday, so I've had a great week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so far so good.
mean,
I
that
saw
makes
that
up
you
for
bought a
everything.
bit more than what you'd planned to buy.
Zero regrets. Absolutely zero regrets. I now have the coolest
way.
little balcony with my little lamps.
Balcony things.
I will add a picture for the socials.
Definitely. So was it just outside things that you guys got?
No, we honestly did go to get a potato masher.
Oh, I
that
thought it
was
was
all
peeler.
truth. No, it was a masher.
Masher.
So we went to get a potato masher, and then we got some bed sheets because we needed some bed sheets. Oh, we got a new wok because our wok was not non-stick anymore, and they've stopped selling the one that we use, and that is probably because it's highly toxic because of the PFAS that is now a subject in the world, which is
So needed an upgrade anyway.
yeah. So we got a wok and a balcony, and we got one of these lights that you put under your kitchen cupboards so that you have some more light like when you're doing the washing up. But it's a like a sensor detector. So now as soon as you walk into the kitchen at any time of day. So we've taken off the sensor for now. But it looks very modern when it does it when you want it to do it. But when you don't want it to do it, it's a bit much.
It's like,
Yeah. And I think that was it.
Be honest, did you kind of like have at the back of your mind that you were going to look at other stuff? Or was
Oh,
it
yeah.
really-
100%. Who goes to IKEA if they're not going to look at other stuff?
So you had a little list. You were just like, number one is potato mash.
Yeah, no. It was potato masher and wok, actually. We did decide that we needed a new wok. So it was worthy of going to IKEA. And I got meatballs. I ran for the meatballs because I didn't quite have enough time to get from work to the restaurant before the restaurant closed. So I ran for the meatballs.
Yeah, I saw. Just building up appetite.
Yeah.
How
Anyway,
far away
so...
is IKEA from you? Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, yes, let's focus. So welcome to our second episode of season 2. Our first one that's just us two. We've done our first episode with lovely Isa and Little Insight. We haven't recorded that yet, so hopefully it went well. If not, maybe this is a season
wonder how she's
episode
going
one.
to take this.
I was like, do I be honest? Let's just be honest. Like,
Love it.
we're busy people. We've got to fit it in when we can. And this is just how it worked out. So hopefully all went well. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, we're starting off today. Actually, I forgot, but I had to prep this episode outside of Milanote because Milanote wasn't working when I wanted to prep it. So it's in my notes,
Wow.
which is annoying.
Ooh.
But I was actually quickly trying to pass it into Milanote before recording, and then I was like, you know what? It's one less thing that I don't need Wi-Fi for if I have it in my notes instead of Milanote.
Sure.
So I was just saying to Saoirse that hopefully next time we record, my Wi-Fi situation will be sorted out because it's not great at the moment. So if there's any lag, it's not our chemistry.
Yeah.
It's lagging. That's not the
Chemistry is
issue.
top notch. It's the Wi-Fi.
It's just the Wi-Fi. Exactly. So yeah. So anyway, so there are notes. That's a little bit strange, but yeah, we're starting off. Well, again.
I'm sorry. I
season.
feel like you can get such a good grasp of who Alba is as a person by how big of a deal this is. Like she's having to use her notes rather than her Milanote.
Yeah.
Big changes, guys.
Yeah. It was uncomfortable. I actually had a bit of a meltdown about it to my partner. I was like, I have to do notes and it's going to be so much worse and I just can't do it like this. And he was like, we'll just do it later. And I was like, I'm going to do it now because I don't have time to do it later. And then I sent a message to Saoirse like, is your Milanote down as well?
And I was like, I'm running for meatballs, girl.
Like, when I used it last, it was fine. And I was like, just my Milanote. But no, it wasn't just my Milanote. So anyway.
I checked. It wasn't working.
So yes, we decided that the only way to start off the season was with the much talked about work-life balance. We have talked about this and referenced it, and when we've talked about season 2, it's one of the words that we've used. So yes, welcome to work-life balance. We initially had, I don't know what we're going to call this episode, but what we did have written down for it was the work-life balance lie. My partner's headphones are disconnected to my computer. Will that interfere with us?
Can you still hear me?
Hopefully not.
Can you still
If
hear
you
me?
stop hearing me. I can't hear you. He must be hearing you.
Oh, you can't hear me. Hi, Ajay. Hi. Should I tell him a secret? Hey, Ajay.
One moment.
Oh, you can't hear me.
Okay. Now? Talk?
Hey, Ajay.
Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
No. No.
I can still
Damn,
tell Ajay all
Apple.
my secrets. Hey, Ajay. How are you doing?
You guys are going to be able to
How's
hear
life in
Saoirse.
London?
I can't hear Saoirse.
Are you tired of it yet?
What do I do? I'm going to...
Here's a secret. I'm thinking of... Can you hear me? I need to
Okay.
make sure she can't hear me for this.
Now can I hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes!
I was about to tell a secret, but I'm not going to tell the secret anymore.
Oh no! Sorry, guys. Ruined the secret. Right. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen again. So yes, we were going to call it the work-life balance, or the title that we have at the moment for it is a work-life balance lie. And Saoirse was like, I don't like it because I feel like it's not the case. I think it is. It's not a lie. And I agree that it's not a lie because it's necessary. But there is something about the term that kind of like irks me a bit. I'm a bit like... And I don't know why it is. So I was like, right, that's what we're going to dive into in this episode. And I think, I don't know. Yeah, we're going to, I'm not going to jump ahead. What are your thoughts about what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. I mean, I think it's one of the things I think about most when it comes to work, of finding that balance. Am I doing enough? Am I not doing it? Am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Is this sustainable? Should I stop? Should I do more? So much influence from every corner of life on this subject. And it's such a big subject currently.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So it's a big topic.
Yeah, it's a big topic. And it's something that a lot of people say that it's just something that's, they feel like it's been like, not invented, but like brought up just to make us feel guilty, or like we should be doing more and we should be doing better. And should we, you know, is it what we're doing and what we found as a balance? Is it enough? Is it good enough? It's interesting because I've got here a stat that people talk about work-life balance more than salary. So you're saying it's at the top of your mind when you're thinking about work things. To talk about it more than salary, I think is quite crazy. And 83% of people in 2024, I think the stat is from, rate it as their top priority when they're choosing a job. And the same as lots of things have, you know, changed a lot now. This is one of them. There was also stats about how more people are, you know, giving more importance to be able to be flexible with hybrid and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's definitely something people are thinking about more now. And even though people are thinking about it, 66% say that they're still struggling, and that burnout is still remaining one of the, like, something that they're also battling. So again, it's like, if it's present, but what are we doing wrong that even though we're thinking about it and it's there and it's present, why are still so many people still suffering burnout, even though this is a concept that is now much more used and much more accepted, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clearly a topic that we're talking about more and more, especially our generation, I would say, or maybe less so than kind of older generations. And the thing is, there's not that many of our generation that are already in charge.
Yeah,
so I
that's
feel
very
like
true.
even though it's this massive topic now, I feel like the companies that are changing things, a lot of the time it's just because they're having to keep up if they want to employ this younger generation.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily because it becomes this big priority on their list of things that they have to implement to be able to have good employees.
100%. Yeah. It was actually a lot of the articles that I was looking at and stuff prepping for this episode. They were saying about how different the workforce is if people started working before 2020 or after 2020. The ones that started working after 2020, most of them are Gen Z, and they will not put up with any shit. You know, anything to do with mental health, most of them, they're like, no, like they have it a lot more present, and it is something, they're probably, you know, a big part of that 83%. I think it said something crazy. 40% of the workforce nowadays is Gen Zers or something like that, which is probably why 83% of people are putting work-life balance as their number one priority when choosing a job. So yeah, what we want to talk about today is, if so many people want balance, why do so many people feel like they can't or don't have it? So I know that you've had experience with this, Saoirse. We've talked about this a little bit with your trip to Argentina. If you'd like to tell us a little bit about that, about what that was all about, your experience with work-life balance.
Yeah, I think so. For context, if anybody hasn't been fumbling from the beginning, at the end of last year, so December 2024, I decided early on in the year, but at December 2024, I went for a month-long solo trip to Argentina. And I did some volunteering and I did some traveling, but the biggest part of it was just 1 month offline, basically, away from work, away from life, on my own. And I came back. It's very cliche, but I mean, if it's cliche, it's probably for a reason.
A reason. 100%.
But I came back so refreshed in terms of work. I was so inspired. I was full of energy. It's at that time that we spoke about this podcast. Like, I just came back so full of motivation and inspiration to work and to create and so many things. And that was a big contrast to how I was feeling when I left, because I was working at my company, I was starting up this new company, and I was putting so much pressure on myself to do everything perfectly. And I think I was also doing a business course. Like, I was putting in so much time and energy to work that it just started getting too much, you know? At the end of the day, when your brain is like tired and you're forcing it to keep doing it, it starts to reject. And I started feeling less motivated at work. I started having troubles dealing with situations. Like, at some point, maybe a month before I left, I like broke down into tears in front of my boss. It was very embarrassing. And it was something that was happening quite a lot, you know? I was having these moments where I just couldn't deal with work and with situations and with responsibilities, and it was just too much. And since I came back from my trip, while I was there, I had a real kind of analyzed what all these feelings were, and obviously it kind of put things into a new perspective, because I was like, okay, it's a big, massive world. There's a gazillion things you can do. If you're doing what you're doing, make sure you're doing it because that's what you want to do, and because that's the situation you want to be in, you choose to be in. And so, yeah, I did ask myself the questions, and I did come to the conclusion that I loved what I was doing. I loved my job, and I loved what I decided to, you know, the path I was following. So it was important to not, you know, put too much pressure on myself, because that would make it unsustainable, and then I would end up burning out. So yeah, since then, I've been way chiller about work, and I identify when I'm feeling anxious, and it's always because I'm putting too much pressure on myself, and then I try and figure that out. So I don't know if that's like work-life balance in terms of time, but it's more in terms of like mental weight, you know?
Yeah. And I want to point out how well you've done in like maintaining those things, because I feel like all the things that you were doing while you were away, like you say, it was very extreme. You were able to like be completely disconnected. So in that situation, it's almost like it's the easy situation for yourself, for your brain, for your mind. But then to like everything that you like realized and kind of learn about yourself and all that, to incorporate that into your day-to-day life when you've gone back into routine, that's what's really complicated. Because I think what you were saying, it's like you were able to see all these things because you took a step back, a massive step back. A continent away step back. But it was taking a step back because it's really hard to like, when you're in your routine, in your day to day, to one, see these things, identify them and, you know, stop. And, you know, we're very like, I feel like we all do it, that we're like, you know, we have our, not even comfort zone, but what we're used to and what we do each day. And, you know, changing that when you're in it is just so hard, so hard. So when we asked our listeners, do you think that work-life balance is real? As that's kind of what we were going for this episode. Someone gave an answer that I thought was quite interesting. So they said, work-life balance is real, but it's often misunderstood. Many believe they need to achieve that perfect balance every day or every week, but this is very unrealistic and can even be counterproductive. Work and life naturally come in waves. Periods when work dominates due to deadlines and big projects, and other times when personal life takes precedence with vacations, family events, self-care, or health priorities. Instead of thinking about a strict 50-50 split, it's more helpful to think about balance in terms of seasons, which I love, like nature's 4 distinct seasons, each with its own purpose. What matters most is not maintaining a perfect equilibrium at all times, which I think is what people really get caught up in, but zooming out to see the bigger picture over weeks or months, ensuring both work and life receive the attention they need during their respective seasons. Embracing this cyclical rhythm allows for a more sustainable, fulfilling approach to balance that accepts life's natural ebb and flow. So I think that's where I had the kind of same kind of resistance to the concept that it sounds great, work-life balance, but it also sounds really unachievable to me. Like it's like this thing that would be great to have, but it's like, you know, what's like, there's just no way. And it's because, at least in my mind, I also think of it as like 50-50, which obviously is just unrealistic. I mean, just how a week is set up in a normal person's life, it can't be 50-50. Having some research and like what other people think of all this and that, there were so many people advocating for like 4-day weeks and 3-day weekends and that kind of stuff. But it's not even about that. It's not even about if in your week you get half of work and half of like the rest of life. Because I saw a lot of people saying like life isn't just having fun with your family members. Life is also doing the shopping and you know, washing the clothes and all those things. And that definitely doesn't feel like, okay, so I managed to work and do all the house chores.
Balance.
Yay, work-life balance. No. So yeah, I think when I was kind of doing all this, I was like, I think maybe if it came down to kind of redefining that concept, because it is actually, even though it's kind of now like more of a thing, more of a, I don't want to say buzzword, but you know, more just like we were saying at the beginning, just more present. It's a concept that's actually came about quite a long time ago. So the definition in the Oxford English Dictionary is that it's the division of one's time and focus between work and family or leisure activities. Traditional work-life balance paints a picture of perfect equilibrium. It's work in one clean box and, you know, the rest of it in another box. And that's just not attainable, basically. So yeah, so I think that is the way that that's defined. It does just put that pressure on people that makes it feel like my life should look like this. I also feel, I don't know if this is just me, but I also feel very often that sometimes I know that my social, not battery, but yeah, but I don't, for example, with my partner, he would spend all day, every day with other people. I don't need that. I am very much, you know, hang out by myself, do my own thing, and then every once in a while meet up with friends or family or whatever. So I think it can also look really different to other people what that kind of balance is. Like if your life is meeting up with people, you know, with friends to go and have a drink or whatever, or, you know, going for a walk with your dog. It can be quite different.
I also think, because just as you were talking, at least when I generally have this discussion of work-life balance, it's usually trying to push for more life, overwork.
Yeah.
Because
people feel like they work too much.
Yeah.
Well, in a lot of things I saw, lots of people asked, what is work-life balance to you? And nearly everybody answered, less work. And
and that's also the topic for me, I feel like, okay, how much work can I do while keeping it sustainable? So it's more about kind of defining work and not feeling guilty to take time off work. But I imagine that for some people, like imagine you're a family, like a mum of 3. Maybe you really want to work. You really want to work like 11 hours a day, 12 hours a day. But the guilt is opposite. You feel guilty to stay at work because you're expected to be at home and be with your family. Yeah. And therefore, the work-life balance, I mean, it's a topic for both sides and both directions, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had, when we asked about it being real or not, somebody said that the way that they kind of do it is they said, my girlfriend and I both work together from home. And we have a ritual. Whenever we hit a big work milestone, we stop everything and do a celebration dance around our office, no matter how silly it feels. These moments break up stress, add joy to success, and remind us that life and work should be fun. So I think that's also like a really nice point, that it doesn't, I mean, obviously it depends on your work. This is something that, for example, I get to do as well, that if I start to feel stressed, I can break it up and go for a walk, for example, or have a dance around my office, home office. So it's also not to think about it, I think, so black and white, like we were saying before, like this work in a neat little box and then life in a neat little box, to be able to like, I will maybe have like at a weekend, for example, it's mostly fun and social things. And then I will have to take 2 hours out for work. And that for me is a way of finding balance, because if not, it's not like, okay, so if I'm going to work for 2 hours, I have to work for 8 hours. So it's also like depending on your situation to be able to adapt. And I saw somewhere that it said that there are different ways to achieve this balance, and it kind of ties in with this story. And it's the scheduler versus the integrator.
Okay.
So the scheduler set hard boundaries. So this is the person that says work ends at 5 and my weekends are sacred. So that's how they find balance. And they say, when I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm not at work, I'm not at work. And then the integrators blend. So they might be doing some examples of this where they were explaining the difference. It said like emails on the treadmill or life admin between Zoom calls, which that's very me. Between meetings, I'll be like, I've got to go hang out the washing.
That's so funny, because that's a very good example of me and you. Like I am the scheduler, and the way that I disconnect from work is that from the moment I leave the office, everybody knows if you call me, I'm not going to pick up,
Yeah.
You can try, but you can send me a juicy message. Maybe I'll pick up a phone call, but if not, then that's pretty much how I do it. Like I'm able to, because I work in office. Yeah. As soon as I leave the office, I'm able to like, okay. Yeah. And I also find myself on my walk towards the office in the morning. So on my commute, as soon as I get off the metro and I have like a 7-minute walk to the office, I find myself already thinking about, okay, what have I got to do this morning? What emails or what meetings have I got coming up? And then I'm like, no, not until you walk through the door. And then I'll start thinking about something else. Like it really is how I do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I totally appreciate that. I feel like that would definitely be me if I had an in-office job. But I think when it comes to finding, and for lack of a better word, we're going to keep saying balance, because we've redefined balance now. It's not 50-50. So it's boundaries and clarity in whatever you want to. So for the scheduler, it is that 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whenever you finish work is, you're done for the day and don't contact me, and definitely don't think about it on the weekends. For me, which would be more the integrator, it is, when I am out for a walk or doing something to disconnect, doing yoga, doing this, doing that, I'm like, no, because I'm not sat at my desk. And then I'll sit back down at my desk and it's like, now I'm on, and it is much more of a constant on-off like switch rather than now on for 8 hours, now off for however many. So it's just, I think the way to do it is just be clear with yourself and what works for your lifestyle, really. I think there's so many different situations, especially people who do hybrid. We were talking with someone the other day, and she started a new job a couple of years ago, and it's hybrid, which really works for her because she has 2 young kids. So days whenever they're home or whatever, then she will work from home, and then that looks very different to when she works in the office. But it's not that the work doesn't get done, it just looks very different because she isn't able to just zone in. She actually said that sometimes she will just have a day at home rather than in office because she has a lot of work to do, and she knows she's going to have the house to herself. And in the office, exactly, she's like, it's just too much sometimes, which I thought was interesting.
But I totally understand that. Like, as soon as I'm at office, although because some of my team members are online anyway, I get interrupted no matter where I am. In fact, tomorrow morning, I really want to work on something, so I've put it in my calendar. Like, Saoirse is working on this, do not disturb.
Love it.
But I also
clear
have
boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it'll work, but hey. But yeah, I used to have a colleague, and she would have one day of working from home a week, and she would use that day to make all of her calls because she was a salesperson, and she would, like, it wasn't really that easy to make calls at the office because we were an open space, and we did have like a little separate room, but it's not always free, and then having to get up and do your calls and then come back and then take notes in your computer and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so it's nothing about productivity, it's really situation.
Yeah. So the next thing I kind of want to talk about is when it comes to mental health, because obviously work-life balance is very much about time management, but I think it's also about mental health because that's kind of the whole reason why you're doing it all. And yeah, I think, I don't know, it's, again, like we've been saying, I think it really depends on the person.
For sure.
But I think the biggest thing is to be able to just say no. Like however you decide to do it, if that does look like an hour lunch break and you really need that hour to reset, and you know that is the time when you're going to have the lovely meal that you've taken into work with you and go and sit in the sun and not be interrupted, or if it is more a weekend away that you've been looking forward to, I think being able to just say no and completely disconnect, I think is just so important. We're expected to be concentrated on work when we're at work, but then very often in our personal lives, we do carry work into it, and we are still thinking about, oh, that email I didn't answer, and that, you know, person who's waiting on me and whatever. And it's so hard. I mean, I have my own business, so it's even like another layer of hard where you're trying to just disconnect and think, no, I'm not gonna think about that right now because I'm enjoying this dinner with my family or whatever. But it's so complicated. But I think that's kind of, we need that rest, that complete disconnect. You were able to do it for a whole month away, and you came back a new person.
It was amazing. But I think what's so important about that learning is that I came back and I was able to work better. Like it's purely that.
Exactly.
If you do find the balance, then you can stay sustainable and work better. And it's better for everybody. It's better for your company. It's better for your boss. It's better for, if it's your company that you've created, you need to also be able to keep that inspiration and keep that creativity and, you know, get the good ideas. One thing is to be able to go to the office and do your hours. But another thing is to be there and I feel like creativity is a big part of it, but like not creativity as in making a pretty picture. Like creativity is how do I solve this problem in the best way, in the creative way? Yeah. Like you can be so much more efficient if you're fully there and motivated, which is what I felt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I've written down, so to stand up for what truly matters in your life currently. Because like we said, like at that time, it might be more personal things going on. It might be more family, friends, or it might be more work. And that this means being open with employers or clients about real capacity and not just saying yes out of people-pleasing habits, which I am very bad at doing. And prioritizing restorative time, however that might look to you. Because I think a thing that we very much get caught up in is comparing with other people on the wonderful thing that is social media and what their work-life balance looks like. And their work-life balance might mean taking loads of vacations, which is absolutely fine because that works for them. Just because that's how they're doing it doesn't mean that's how it's going to look for you. We've got another little kind of listener experience, I guess.
Maybe before you move on about social media, I think because I mean, there's so much influence on social media. And a lot of the time I see like, obviously people are posting when they're traveling. So it feels like people are always on holiday.
Yeah.
And some of the like publications or stories that I've gotten the most kind of feedback from and people being like, oh, that's so cool, is when I show the life that I live while still working full time, you know? And like, I'll put a story up like, Friday afternoon, I'm off, you know, weekend started, whatever time it is. And people are like, I love your work-life balance. And I think it's really cool to also show how you figure that out. Like not just show when you are on your trip or just show when you're overwhelmed from work. Being able to show that true balance per se, or however you do things, it really shows people all of the possibilities there are and that it's never perfect. You know, you're figuring it out.
And it's so easy, like you said, to post like when you do the big dramatic things.
Of course.
Like traveling.
Yeah.
But yeah, the day to day, it's like you say, it's inspiring because it's about finding that inspiration really to, okay, this is what my work life looks like.
Yeah.
How can I spice up my personal life?
And like
to feel happy with those.
Feeling like it is possible to do cool things in the afternoons and on the weekends while still having a full-time job. Like you don't have to be remote worker to be able to travel or to be able to go on a walk. I saw somebody put up something about like doing something that they enjoy in the afternoon so that they're not living for the weekend. Like I think that was a really nice message.
Absolutely.
Like, Tuesday afternoon, go do something you enjoy, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Like you finish at the same time on a Tuesday as you do on a Friday. Obviously, you do have work the next day, but yeah, there's so much that you can do that doesn't mean going to bed at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
that you would still enjoy. So this person said, hi, I'm a single mother juggling career and family after a really painful divorce. I felt like I was battling feeling guilt with imposter syndrome at work and the pressure to always appear strong for the kids. Ultimately, what got me out of this constant guilt cycle was giving myself, and she's put in quotations, permission to take breaks and ask for support when I needed it. This led me to be able to enjoy my time at work and time with my kids infinitely more. So like this, it's like, that's the way she found a bit more balance that she could enjoy work and enjoy outside of work. So in this case, just time with our kids. So it was literally just taking breaks and asking for support, which sounds so simple. But when you're stuck in it, I feel like it's just so hard to get to those conclusions. I
think just speaking up in general, like today is a perfect example for me. This morning, I was feeling super anxious about work. And as soon as I'm feeling anxious about work, I'm like, I'm quitting, you know, I can't do this. This isn't sustainable.
It's over.
It's over. I can't do this anymore. And then I was like, I should just say something. It's so stupid to just be, because I'm doing work as if I wasn't feeling like this, as if I was feeling just as inspired as 3 days ago. And that's not the truth. So I was like, and just the idea of being able to say to my coworker, hey, just heads up, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed right now. Like I'm feeling a bit anxious today, just so you know, like I'm not expecting anything from you, but you know, just in case I react in a different way or whatever. And just the idea of speaking up about it made me calm down because it just kind of put it into perspective. It was like, you're feeling anxious, so don't expect as much of yourself as you would on a normal day, you know? And then I brought up the subject that was making me anxious with the person that was, you know, anyway.
Causing anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other thing. But you can just speak up about how you're feeling in general. Yeah. If you have one person at the office that you're able to talk to about, and you can always talk to anybody. Like, managers aren't aware of what you're feeling. They just don't know, okay?
No. They've got their own things going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm definitely guilty of like feeling either, stressed, anxious, whatever, run down, whatever it is, and still putting up the front, like you say, like from 3 days ago that I was fine. And then as soon as, you know, people don't realize and I get mad that they don't realize, but I'm not showing it. So then as soon as the littlest thing happens, I snap and I'm like, everything's just going wrong. And it's like, why pretend? Why have that whole, like, it's fine, everything's fine. Like, it's just not,
If you do that for too long, you'll break down into tears in front of your boss, and it's not fun. Don't do that.
Not recommended. So with all my extensive research on the subject, my conclusion is that work-life balance can be achieved by looking after yourself and your mental health, because so often I feel like that's not prioritized because we prioritize other things. And I feel like if you do prioritize those things, then that will lead to like the life part of the work-life balance feeling a lot fuller. And when it comes to self-care, it can look anyway. It can look like seeking therapy, which I know helps so many people. It can look like learning something for joy and not just to be productive, you know, learn something that is just because you enjoy it. Or maybe even just, you know, giving yourself permission to not be on all the time and to just, disconnect in whatever way that might be. I'm reading a book at the moment and the main character does cold water swimming in Ireland. And I'm like, I've never wanted to do this, but it sounds so good when they explain it in the book. I want her life. She's just living in the middle of nowhere on cliffs in Ireland.
I'm getting you to...
No.
I'm getting you to swim in cold water next time I see you. You've said it now. You're doing a cold plunge and you're going to tell me how great it is. But yeah, I think something you mentioned there is such a hot topic, and I feel like we should go into it in a whole other episode, is when you're not at work and when you are living life, how to not feel like you should still be being productive, even if it's in life category. Because I am a sucker for that.
Yep, me too.
So
100%.
We'll add that as an episode.
Yeah, definitely. And now to wrap it up, because we're trying to keep the episode shorter this season, because I don't know I don't know how we're doing with this one, but
I think we're doing well.
We're doing well. Okay, good. Well, I've got 2 listener dilemmas, one that is slightly shorter and one that's quite a bit longer. So the first one says, sometimes I feel like my idea of balance changes weekly. How can I accept shifting priorities without self-judgment? Which is something that we've talked a lot about today. And yeah, I think it's just to come down to what we've been saying about that every week doesn't have to look the same. It's absolutely fine that one week at work, everything is really stressful and everyone on the team has to be like all engines go, and the next week it's a bit more chilled, so you maybe can disconnect more and do more things that you enjoy, etc. And I think that's the best way to do it after doing all this research.
Yeah, and I think that it doesn't necessarily have to depend just on the life situation. Like maybe it's because there's more work, so you work more. But maybe it's also just a particular week you're feeling particularly down or stressed or just tired. And like, if there's a day, even if you are supposed to, if there's loads of work, if you're not getting anywhere because you're too tired, it's better to just rest, you know? Like it can depend also on how you're feeling at a certain time and not necessarily just because external conditions or because there's something big going on with your family or
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really hard to answer the like without self-judgment. I feel like that is something that the only antidote is to have compassion, and you know that is something that you just have to work on. I think it's really hard.
And I think also to realize if you do the work and find your balance, you're likely to figure out that when you do find that balance, you're working better anyway. So it's not just you or work, you know, it's not I'm doing more for this week for work, which is better for work. When you're doing things for you, for your mental health, for your rest, you're also doing good for work, because then you'll be there and you'll be more concentrated or more inspired or better to solve things.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next one is quite a bit longer. So let's see. Concentration caps on. So I recently started my first full-time job. I'm about a month in, and to be completely honest, so far I hate it. It's not so much my job that I hate. It's more so the feeling that I have no time or energy for me anymore. As soon as I wake up, I get ready and go to work, and then I get home and I'm so exhausted from work that I really don't have any energy left to dedicate to myself in any meaningful way. Rather, I use my time doing things that gives my brain a quick and easy dopamine boost, like scrolling through social media for hours. And next thing I know, it's time for me to go to sleep, because I have to go to sleep at a decent time to wake up and have enough energy to dedicate to yet another day at work. And sure, there's the weekend, but that's not even long enough to feel like I've truly re-energized myself for another 40-hour work week. Is this what it is? Is this how life is supposed to be? Maybe it works for some people, but I just know this life isn't for me. It feels like I'm slowly killing myself by succumbing to this way of living that we all seem to be trapped in for the sake of survival.
Wow.
So
I have a couple of things to say.
go for it.
First of all, I think kind of off topic, because I've had a couple people start new jobs recently or in my environment. And I think the first thing is to give yourself some time, because when you start a new job, it's a whole new situation. You're meeting new people. You're learning how to do your job for like a good month or so. That takes up so much more energy than when you're 6 months down the line or 1 year in. You know, you're still figuring things out. So I think when you're starting a new job, give yourself that space. I would say maybe a month to like get into it and feel how things are. And then the situation of living for work, I think there are so many people that live like that and that struggle, because obviously you feel like, especially when it's not your company. I mean, I remember having this kind of analysis when I first started, well, when I was, you know, a good length into my work and it started becoming a bit, you know, same old. And then I felt like, okay, I'm putting all of my cool energy and time and, you know, the creative part of me is all going into work. What is this for me? Like, am I just getting paid to survive? Yeah. So yeah, I think first of all, give yourself some time to get settled, and then
it's a big readjustment.
You should be able to find the time in the evenings. I think it's easy to get stuck in, I'm tired, so I don't do anything, so I scroll. I mean, we've all been there. And then you're even more tired. So just trying to do maybe one thing in the evening that you enjoy, even if it's do a puzzle or go out for a walk. I think going outside really helps.
Really helps. Yeah. I was going to say, if you can find someone to keep you accountable. So imagine we, for example, both love dancing, right? So something that for both of us would be a great way to disconnect would be to go to a dance class. Now, when you get home and you're tired from work, the last thing you want to do is go back out again. But if you have someone that you're like committed, that you're both going to this dance class together, or whatever it might be for you, even if it is just a walk or whatever, or going to the cinema or I don't know, something, but you're doing it with someone, I think that accountability with someone being like, so when are we going? And then you kind of force each other, because you feel so much better for it afterwards.
I mean, it happens to me with like, currently my thing, I always have something. So last year it was climbing. I would go climbing after work. Every single time I went climbing after work, on my way, I would be like, I don't want to go. Yeah. I'm tired. And every time on my way home, I was like, I'm so glad I did that. I feel so much better. Absolutely. And it's the same now. I mean, whatever you do, it's going to be hard to get out there, because when you've been working all day, the last thing you want to do is like go and do some sport or you just want to go home and go to sleep. But that would make you feel shit. So
for me, I really benefit from it being in the calendar. Like if I have that, you know, I've booked to go to this gym class at this time, so it's there, so I'm not even thinking about it, you know. I'm like, I finish work and then I've got to get changed because I've got this class that's booked, and I'm not thinking, what do I do now, and I'm an RN, because then I would just stay at home doing nothing. So when it's, you know, it's there, so it just makes me not even think about it. It's like, no, I have to do, it's like you get out of bed in the mornings to go to work because you don't really have a choice, because that's what you got to do. If you did have a choice, you probably would stay in bed for an hour being like, oh, for sure, it up, do I not, you know? So it's the same, to do the same for your life. Do something, whether that be a person, a calendar, you know, slot, if that's enough for you, whatever, to be like, no, like this is happening and I'm not even going to think about it. And hopefully,
it makes a massive difference.
I really empathize. So recently, we haven't really talked about this, you and me, but I've been diagnosed with a autoimmune disease. So, and part of it, so in the last year, I've been feeling so tired. And it was kind of feeling like, I think it was in my second year of uni or something, I was diagnosed with something called mononucleosis, I think it is. Yeah. Might be wrong, but yeah. And what it is basically it like drains you. I don't really know why, but, you can either have it that it's really intense and like people get like hospitalized by it, or it's not as intense, but it lasts quite a long time. And I had it like that. And when I got like diagnosed with it, I'd had it for about 3 months, and they were like, we don't know how you've been like functioning your normal life. Like it's crazy. And it kind of was feeling a bit like that, like so just tired. And I've been diagnosed with this now, and it makes just a lot more sense because a big part of it is fatigue. It's just tired. And I get to the end of the day and I'm like, I can't. Like, I'm so tired. All I want to do is go to bed and sleep. When I do that, sometimes just because of other stuff going on in life, you know, like, I don't know, I've got my period or something on top of it. That is the best thing I can do. And that's fine because I try and make a whole like ritual out of it. And I give myself a little spa treatment.
Yeah, that's your thing. That's your thing.
Exactly. If I'm going to have an early night, I'm going to have a really nice shower. I'm going to put on a face mask. I'm going to, you know, I make a thing out of it. And that still feels at least like it's self-care. But when I am just really tired, but I'm like, I can do this. And I do go out and do something. I always come back feeling so much better. So yeah, I really empathize with that when he said, I get home and I'm just so exhausted that I just don't have any energy left. Like I completely understand that. Push for it and see how you get on.
Yeah,
Push
like
to
just
do the
one
things
day.
you've said. Yeah,
just
exactly.
one day. Don't have to do it every day a week because that can get, that's the other extreme.
Yep.
It's too much. That's what I do. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend. But yeah, just try it one day. Even honestly, even if it's just going out for a walk. Being outside, it gets you out of that loop where you're sit on your sofa and you're like, it's okay, I'm resting, but then you're scrolling, but you don't really want to go to bed yet. I mean, that happens to me. I don't stop myself from going to bed early because then I'm like, oh, but then the day's over and then I've just got to do it again. Like, no, I don't want to do that. But then I stay up too late doing absolutely nothing. And then I'm too tired the next day to enjoy the next evening. Like, just go outside, do a 10-minute walk, and then see how you feel. That's our recommendation.
Yeah. So to finish off this episode, I've got a quote that I found. It was like on Reddit or something, so I don't even know who said it, but I just thought it was so nice. She said, to have a balanced life is like having a balanced diet, nourishing, filling, and not too much of any one thing. So yeah, that's work-life balance.
Yeah.
I have reframed it in my head and I feel a lot better about it now. And yeah, we hope this has given you some food for thought as well.
This is something that we'll probably touch on a lot this season because we're talking about, you know, the balance side of things, finding a sustainable way of working. So it's a brilliant introduction to the season.
Yes, exactly. So yes, we will see you next week do you want to tell us about what next week's episode will be?
We're going to be talking about the hustle. That's all I'm saying.
Hustle.
The hustle.
Well,
is it
there
the
you
only
go.
way?
See you next week.
See you next week.